So in this first video, I'm going to be going over hyperbole and illusion, which are two of the most popular literary devices. There are more to know, so you can head on over to the website where we have some other videos on literary devices, and I urge you to go watch them once you're done with this one. So let's start off with hyperbole. Just to get the simple out of the way, let's start with the definition from dictionary.com, which is hyperbole is an extravagant statement or figure of speech not intended to be taken literally. You hear this a lot in speech as well as literature and poetry, and basically it's when somebody exaggerates a point to where you're not supposed to take it literally, but it's used to emphasize a point by exaggeration. So that might seem convoluted, but basically one example that really helps me is, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I would hopefully think that people aren't going to actually literally go eat a whole horse, but again, they're using exaggeration to emphasize this idea that they are hungry, and you're not supposed to take it literally, because they're not literally going to go eat a horse, but again, they're using exaggeration to emphasize this point. Also, we have I sat for an eternity in the doctor's waiting room. This again, they didn't literally sit there for an eternity in the doctor's waiting room, but they're using exaggeration to emphasize the fact that they waited for so long. So, similarly, I have a million things to do today. Again, literally don't have a million things to do or a million assignments to do. It's just using exaggeration to emphasize a point, which you hear not only in speech but in literature, which brings me on to this next portion where we have these two quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson's The Concord Hymn and William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Act 2, Scene 2. I'll let you have a few seconds to sort of go over those, pick out the hyperbole, and sort of understand or try and figure out for yourself why it is hyperbole. So I'll just give you a little time for that. Alright, so you probably picked that out pretty fast. In the first one, here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. Again, you're not literally supposed to think that the shot was able to be heard around the world, because that's impossible, but again, it's using this exaggeration in order to emphasize the fact that, what happened there was so significant, it was as if you could hear it around the world. So, again, this is just used as a device to exaggerate, and you're not supposed to take it literally, but it's to emphasize a point or sort of make a point more clear. Similarly in Macbeth, we have here Macbeth speaking about how he feels as though, the blood is never going to leave his hands, and the oceans are going to turn a different color, and because of that, and it's not literally, obviously the ocean isn't literally going to turn red from his hands, but again, this is exaggeration to emphasize the fact that Macbeth feels so changed, and he feels so affected by this. So that's pretty much hyperbole in a nutshell. So next we can move on to illusion, which is one of my favorites. So again, to start off with the definition from dictionary.com, illusion is a passing or casual reference, an incidental mention of something either directly or by implication. This is pretty simple. The definition always helped me a lot. So basically, an illusion is whenever a person references something from another book or movie or whatever media, and that's an illusion. So to sort of make that sort of more concrete, we have my friends Billy and Kelly are star-crossed lovers, exactly like Romeo and Juliet. Obviously, you're referencing Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare here, and because you're using a reference, it's an illusion. You're essentially alluding to the fact that your friends are like Romeo and Juliet, so you have an allusion to Shakespeare, essentially. Next, Julia looked as beautiful as Helen of Troy in her prom dress. Again, you're making a reference to Helen of Troy, which is an illusion. That's pretty simple. Just basically whenever you make a reference to something, that's an illusion. To make this seem more concrete, we have William Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 3. I'll let you take a minute to go over this section, pick out the illusion, and, well, if there is one at all, and then sort of sort out for yourself why that is, and I'll tell you in a little bit as to what the answer is. So take a little bit. Alright, so you you probably got this pretty fast, but if you're not familiar with biblical scripture, it might be a little bit lost on you, but this is the king speaking, and as he says, "Oh, my offense is rank, it smells to heaven, it hath the primal curse upon it, a brother's murder." This is referencing Cain and Abel, the biblical story about Cain and Abel, and how Cain kills his brother Abel for various reasons, but what's important is that Shakespeare is referencing the fact that, he's referencing this biblical story, and biblical and mythological references are very common in terms of allusion, so basically you'll see them a lot, especially in Shakespeare and a lot of older things. You'll see, people relying on alluding to biblical or mythological things, so that's a big one to keep in mind, and that's pretty much allusion. That's it for this first video, so head on over to the website, like I said in the beginning, and you can watch a lot more videos about literary devices and how you can use them, how to identify them, and so on, so I urge you to do that.